Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome. Oh, I'm gonna shut my door. I got one door shut. Somebody will come and shut the other door, I'm sure, because I'm loud and obnoxious when we get going in here. Welcome in everybody. I'll give some folks a second to get in here. Hi, Tim and Diane and Malik and Maria and Mario and Randy. Appreciate you guys joining me today. My name is Bob Stewart. We're gonna spend a little bit of time, and I don't know, we had this thing scheduled for an hour, but I seriously doubt we're going to spend the entire hour here. So I'll give you guys, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes of your day back to go start doing some of this stuff that we're talking about here today. And today we're going to talk about 4 simple ways to earn more business from our past clients in our sphere. And so as we jump in here, I want to make sure everybody knows where to go and kind of ask a question or share an aha or give me feedback. Find that little chat area in the Zoom window. There's a little area where you can chat. And there's 2 areas in here, right? There's an area where you can ask questions, and I don't generally keep my eyes too close on that, but there's a chat function where you guys can talk to each other, ask questions of each other, with me. Go find that area and do me a favor. Just check in for me. Let me know where you're joining me from, and then are you currently a Brivity client? Just like to get an idea of our audience. You know, some of these things we're going to talk about today, Brivity offers them. Other people do too, right? Some of these things doesn't matter if you're a Brivity client or not. All right, so Randy's in Mansfield, Scott, Tulsa, Marsha's down in Napa, California. Beautiful country. Where are some of the rest of you guys? There we go, Billy. Puyallup, that's where I was born. Get out of here. Fantastic. Hi, Mario, down in Scottsdale. My wife and I were just looking at condos last night down in Scottsdale. We think it's time for us to come back and have a place in Arizona. We used to live in Mesa, Rock Island, Scott. All right. I appreciate you guys kind of checking in for me. Diane in my hometown, Seattle, Washington. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to get my screen shared with you guys here. And let me get in here and go full screen so you guys can see everything nice and big. All right, so again, guys, my name is Bob Stewart with Brivity and the Ben Kinney companies. We're going to talk today about 4 simple ways to get more business from your sphere. And you know, let's just define your sphere, which is kind of silly, except there's something particular in here I want us to kind of pay attention to. So your sphere is a group of people upon which you have some influence just because they know you. Now that level of influence is determined by how they perceive you related to that influence you have over them. So in our case, it's how they perceive us related to that real estate influence we may or may not have over them. Okay, so I just want you to really kind of keep that in mind as we go through here and talk today, that perceived influence you have over them. That's really important, and it'll come to light as we jump in here. So something I've been reading my entire 18-year career in real estate, I hadn't been around for quite that long, or at least I didn't find it 18 years ago, but is the NAR profile of home buyers and sellers. And every single year, NAR, and most of you guys probably pay your dues to the NAR, right? And they do lots of great things like lobby on our behalves. And but one of the things they do that has really become kind of a Bible for us in our business, and it has been for a long time, is the NAR profile of home buyers and sellers, where they do extensive kind of research each year to see a lot of different things. But one of the things that, I mean, year over year has consistently come out of this, and look, last year the numbers were a percentage or 2 off of this, right? Or in 2018, 2019's is out now. 41% of buyers used an agent that was referred to them by a friend, neighbor, or relative, and 24% of buyers used an agent they had used in the past. A total of 65% of the buyer business was done via referral or past client. That's a staggering amount. 2/3 of the business in this industry on the buy side is done either by referral or by past client. One of the crazy statistics kind of beyond what we see on the page right here. 24% of buyers used an agent they had used in the past. However, like 80%, and it's north of 80% of buyers said they had a good experience with the agent they bought the home with. Like they probably would have used them again, right? 80% of people, yet only 24% of people actually use that agent they used in the past. So like, why that massive gap in there? Well, this is a hard business, so people go out of business. By the way, I'm like catching a shot of myself in these like aviator headphones. I forgot my regular headphones, so I look like I'm flying a plane in here for us. Hopefully we can land this bad boy safely. Anyway, that's a massive gap, right? So people go out of business. We do a bad job potentially of following up with them, keeping in touch, letting them know we give a rip, right? We're not just kind of one and done, bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and I'm on to the next transaction, right? So there's something there. When 80% or 83%, I think it was last year, of people say, yeah, I had a great experience with the agent that I worked with. I'd use them again, and only 24% end up doing that. There's something wrong there, right? But as we talk about getting business from our sphere and our past clients, 65% of the buyer business last year came from those buckets. Now, sellers, same thing, 1 percentage point different. A total of 66% of seller transactions in 2019, based on NAR's profile of home buyer and sellers, came from past clients or referral. So in any business, anywhere across the entire United States, there's the potential that a huge chunk of your business comes from these arenas. The funny thing is, we've studied this. We used to have a company called, or we still do, Active Rain, and we did a lot of research against our users there in the similar way that NAR does. Most of the dollars spent in a real estate agent's business from a marketing, advertising, client acquisition perspective are not spent on our past clients and generating referrals. They're spent on finding a piece of business that wasn't somehow connected to us previously, right? Internet leads, Zillow, stuff like that, right? Radio advertising, whatever it is. But the bulk of the business comes from our sphere and our past clients. So why don't they potentially produce more results? Well, we expect they'll remember us or they'll think of us when they do it. I have so my mom is a real estate agent. Her very first year in real estate was 2000. She got her license late in 2016. In 2017, she did 79 transactions. She plugged into Ben Kinney's systems. She uses Brevity. Like she crushed 2017, and she's had subsequent amazing years in real estate. But not much of her business in that first year came from her sphere or past clients, because she was one of those people that just thought, I don't really want to go asking people I'm connected to for business when I'm so new in the business, right? And she was able to join a team, and they had lots of resources and tools for her to go out and work internet leads or do open houses or make canceled expired calls, do circle prospecting. But her first year goes by, and at some point she had kind of realized the trajectory she was on, and 80 had been her goal that she'd set about 6 months into 2017. She had a lower goal to start that year, but she missed her goal by 1. So she's at a function, a family function in early 2018, my grandma's birthday party, I think it was. And a cousin of hers said, man, Gail, it seems like you're doing really awesome in real estate. We just sold a couple of rental houses. And my mom was like, wait, what? What do you mean? And they said, oh yeah, you just seem busy. And so we thought you were busy and like that was a kind of a reflection point for her. Like, had she reached out to them and let them know, they knew she was in real estate. They even knew she was like kind of crushing it, right? She shares stuff on her social media and that kind of thing, but she just had never made an intentional outreach to that person and said, hey, listen, even though I'm busy, like, your guys' business would mean a ton to me, right? Your referrals would mean a ton to me. So we just expect that they'll remember us, or that they'll think about us, maybe even that they'll think like, here's an interesting. I think we all just take for granted that like everybody out there understands how we even get paid. Right? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought like, I'll bet my mom's cousin had no idea like how my mom ends up getting paid because her cousin likes my mom, right? So if she knew how this all worked, there's a pretty good chance she might have thought, oh, Gail's busy, but this could mean something to her, right? We failed to stay in touch, and really Gail's example is that, right? She just failed to stay in touch with these people. She really never even established that relationship with them. One of the things that we do in Ben Kinney's business, if you've never done this for yourself, like we sit down upon like starting on the Ben Kinney team, we list out a list of 200 people in our sphere and as much contact information as we can get for them. The first week spent in our business is spent collecting then other points of contact information for those people. Because a lot of people you might call your sphere, and we'll kind of talk about what your sphere even is or how we would classify those people in a second. But a lot of those people, we have just a phone number for them, but not an email. We've got an email and a phone number, but we don't know where they live. We don't know their address. We could probably drive to their house maybe, but we don't know their address, right? So we spend the first week getting an agent onboarded and kind of ready to go because we know that 2/3 of their business potentially is going to come from the people they know or the people that they end up doing business with. We position them in the very beginning to say, look, you're going to work your sphere, and we'll talk in a minute about what that looks like. We don't look for new signs, right? We don't look for signs like, and we'll talk in a little bit about some of the things we could do to potentially spot those signs. But we don't look for signs that people in our sphere, in our database, our past clients have questions about real estate or are curious about what's going on in the market around their house. Now, we've got to have some tools to be able to spot those signs, and we'll talk about those, right? We send like 4 and 6, even 5, right? This gets back to that definition of what your sphere is, right? That idea that the influence you have on them is kind of related to how they perceive you around that topic, right? Real estate in this case. So like, what do you send to people? Like, are you the person that sends like recipes and like change the clocks and happy Memorial Day, which the intention on those things is good, but think about the perception that gives that person who's receiving those things from you. So as we look inside of like Ben Kinney's business, and guys, if you're not familiar with Ben, when the numbers from the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends come out here pretty soon for production from 2019, Ben's team will be number 1 or number 2 in the United States in terms of transaction volume. They did 3,108 transactions in 2019. We categorize our sphere like this, and we tag them in our database. They get tags. They're an A+. If they're somebody that they give us 3 referrals a year, right? And we don't have that many, right? Each one of our agents is trying to every month, every year, add 1 or 2 people like this, right? But they're that person that, man, if they just even walked by somebody on the street who was talking about selling their house, they'd grab them and say, you got to work with Ben Kinney. They're amazing. They're consistently year over year sending you 3 or more transaction referrals. Our A sphere, they're going to refer us 1 to 2 people a year to our business. Okay, consistently, we know every year there's going to be a person or 2 that they end up sending our way. The B's would tell somebody my name if that person asked them, but there's no consistency in the way that they think about me, right? They would never stop somebody on the street. They would never butt in on a coworker's conversation and say, hey, I heard you guys over here in the cubicle talking about selling your house. Like, if you haven't checked with Ben Kinney, you're crazy, right? They wouldn't do that. But if somebody said, hey, who should we're thinking about selling our house. Do you know a good agent? They'd say Ben Kinney. And then the C's, they know my name. And if I probably called them on the phone, they'd say, oh yeah, hey Bob, how's it going? but I don't recall that they've ever referred me anything. And we're always in this cycle, right, of trying to make a C a B, trying to make a B an A, trying to make an A plus. How do we do that? Well, we've got to kind of raise the perception or the influence we have over them as they perceive it connected to real estate, right? So as we get into Brivity here, and Brivity's got a lot going on. We do transaction management and the CMA tool and listing alerts and all sorts of lead capture tools, and we do leads and all this stuff, right? A CRM that obviously sits in the middle and manages all of this, and auto plans to immediately start following up with your leads, right? There's all this stuff that we do. Today we're going to talk about kind of content and messaging, the CRM and what we can do inside of there, and market reports. I actually threw something else in here that we're going to hit on as well. So I've been 18 years, you guys. In 2002 was the first time that me and a group of friends took an MLS feed, an IDX feed from the Northwest MLS up here in Seattle, Washington. And for 18 years, ever since, we've been trying to get people to communicate, connect with our business. We send listing alerts and we send emails and 33 touches and drip campaigns and on and on and on. About 4 years ago, we created this market report tool because we got to a point finally, like as an industry, our MLS boards all across the country, and there's like 600 of these things, finally about 4 years ago started saying, yeah, you know what? Zillow is showing everybody what homes are selling for. We should probably let the members of our real estate boards, right, the agents who pay us dues, we should let them use data like sold data and pending data, and we should let them share it with their clients so their clients don't have to go find that information, right? What did the neighbor's house sell for on Zillow? These big data sets have kind of been available for a while, where you could send somebody like, here's the average price, or here's what's going on, here's how many listings are on the market. But to show them actually like the active homes around their house, the pendings, right, the people that have an offer, and then the solds and the prices of what those solds are. Now, some of your states don't allow the price, but we can still show them that homes have sold around them. We created this market report tool, and what we kind of tell this, it's a ridiculous story, but I'll share it with you because I think it drives home the point. So my wife is amazing. If I showed you guys a picture of her, and then you can see my face on here right now, most of you would be like, wow, how'd this guy land that lady? She's amazing, smart, driven, makes way more money than I do. Like, she's awesome, right? So when she comes home from work, and by the way, she's working from home these days, right? The whole COVID thing, but normally she works in an office, and when she comes home, I would never be like, hey, honey, her name's Erin. I say, Erin, I got you some tickets. There are 2 tickets. You can take a friend. It's called speed dating. And you guys are going to go there. It's at the Seattle Center this weekend, and there's going to be like 50 eligible bachelors. They're all going to be really handsome, honey, like the square jaw types, rugged looking, right? And big muscles, honey, and fat wallets. Like, they're barely going to be able to sit straight in their seats. Their wallets are going to be so fat. They're rich. Like, go, have a great time. It'll be amazing. Like, that would be ridiculous, right? And I'll bet that Scott or Mary or Diane or Mario or any of you guys on here who like have a significant other that you love, like, you would not do that. It's insane, right? Because she'd find somebody with a bigger wallet and better tan and bigger muscles, right? But every single day, the people that are on this call, I promise you, this happened at some point in the last week. But every day, somebody in your database, right? A past client of yours, somebody in your sphere that you're connected to, your cousin, right? They drive home from work. Well, these days, maybe they don't drive home from work. They're like working at home, but they take their dog for a walk around the neighborhood, right? Because that's about all some of us can do right now. Some of you guys are able to drive home from work again, but and they come into their neighborhood, and they've been driving past that house out there that's had the for sale sign up for a couple days. In some of your markets, those houses sell fast, right? A couple weeks, right? They might not even know that it went pending at some point, because a lot of times an agent will put a pending sign out there, but almost always that sold sign goes up. When they drive by, what do? What do you guys think they do? I promise you, the fact that Zillow exists is proof they want to know what that house sold for. They want to know. Why? Well, most of the people in your database, most of your past clients, most of your sphere, their home is their largest investment, their largest financial instrument. And they know that when that neighbor's house sold, whatever that neighbor got for their house has a direct correlation to what their home is now worth. And so a lot of them, guys, they don't even get home. They'll, like, if they're walking their dog, they'll pull this bad boy out. You guys all have this within arm's reach. Half of you are probably on this thing right now, totally ignoring what I'm talking about, right? They'll pull the phone out. Where do they go? Now, if you've got a tool like the Brivity Market Report tool, they go to your market report. They pull that bad boy up, and they can say, yep, there it is. It was listed at 525, and holy crap, honey, look, they got 540? I never thought they were going to get 525. If they can't go get that information from you, right? If they don't make that connection, like when I need real estate information, I go to Mario down there in Scottsdale. If they can't do that, you are forcing them on a real estate speed dating event. And guys, I promise you, there is a real estate agent out there with a bigger marketing budget and sexier marketing photos. And if it's Ben Kinney and they end up going to his website because they went to Google and they typed in, home sale prices in Scottsdale, right? Or they typed in, what did 123 Main Street in Scottsdale sell for, right? Or they just, they've been getting bombarded by Zillow branding for years, and so Zillow's just the place. Then they go to Zillow, right? God forbid they end up in somebody else's database. You've essentially you forced them because you're not delivering this information to them on a real estate speed dating event. Don't do that. I don't care if it's Brivity, guys. Like top producer has what's called Market Snapshot. It's not as pretty as Brivity's, but it gets the job done, right? It starts to correlate to them. Like Mario's the guy for real estate around. When I have a question, when I drive by the sold, like I'm going to that guy for the answers. Out of Brivity, there's hundreds of thousands of market reports are being sent by our clients today. They have a 38% open rate, which if you've ever done email marketing, analyzed email marketing, if you're somebody that sends a newsletter, 38% open rates are staggering. Like today, if you sent, like our listing alerts get a 12 to 15% open rate when we send properties to buyer leads, right? Market reports 38%. Now, a lot of that makes sense, right? You're sending them to people that know you. It's about their house, right? Like the address line says, like, new market report for 18511 71st Ave in Kenmore. People want to know what's going on around their biggest asset. You have to be the person to provide that to them. So who should have one of these things? Well, all my sphere, right? If they live in my market, they're my sphere, and I just need an email address for them. If I have their physical address and an email and they live kind of inside my MLS coverage, market report. All my past clients. We start setting these up for our past clients like in the week after they close on their home. So they're a buyer with us. They come in, they buy a house here in Bellingham. We set them up, market report immediately, right? Because a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, something's going to sell around them. And it's going to help. It's going to change the value of their home. Any seller, leads, prospects, long-term nurtures, if I'm calling on canceled expireds and I get a nurture, those people are going to get market reports from us. We're going to continue. If they're a lead in our world, right, one of those number threes, a seller prospect, a canceled expires, they get it weekly. If they're a past client, right away in the first year, we set them to go monthly, right? We just want them to enjoy the house. Enjoy your house, right? Well, let's keep you updated once a month on what's going on. Eventually, we'll turn that into, and if it's sphere, we're setting up somebody that's lived in the house for a while, every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, we're going to send out a new market report. The cool thing is these marker, they can look at them anytime. And when they go in, not the email, right? Because the email just kind of takes a snapshot in time of that day we send it out. But the report itself, if they go in and access that and it pulls up on their screen, that report is actually living and breathing. Okay? It's up to the minute with the MLS data. And if a house goes sold in the MLS 15 minutes ago and they came and looked at that report right now, it'd show that house on there as sold. So you can rest assured every time they drive around the neighborhood, drive home from work, take a dog for a walk, and they see a house with that sold sign on it, they can come to you to get the answer, right? What did it sell for? All right, market reports. So my mom, I mentioned earlier, she's an agent, like once a month, and she's got, a couple thousand of these things going out to leads and couple times, once a month at minimum, and she always sharing these in our Brevity Mastermind group on Facebook. She gets an email from somebody that's like a come list me email. I don't know how many of those you guys get. I'm sure you get some, right? But we get them from leads. We get them from our sphere. We get them from our past clients, right? Hey, Gail, I saw that the guy down the street, he got $525 for his house. He listed it at $499. Like, what? You think we could get that for our house? To which she has to say, I'm not sure. Let me come out and take a look, right? Let's sit down and talk about it. All right. So Ben Kinney believes in systems and models, and we believe systems and models make the ordinary extraordinary. And we've built a business that in 2019 did 3,108 transactions on the back of systems and models. And look, a lot of teams, they have a system and model for open house, right? We do open houses a certain way. They got a system or a model for lead conversion, right? Like we use the 10 days of pain. We created the 10 days of pain to convert our leads. But a lot of people don't have a system or a model for how they work their sphere and their past clients. They just kind of, they haphazardly do it. They fly by the seat of their pants. This is one of the reasons why 83% of people said, I really liked the job that my real estate agent did for me. But only 24% of them, when they go to buy that next house, use that agent again. We're not consistent. So this is we call this our CrossFit plan, right? Like if you guys ever go to the gym and you walk in the gym and you're like, I'm not really sure what to do in here. Like I end up sitting backwards on the machine, right? I'm like, and then I do a couple things and I'm like, I'm out of here. And I don't come back because I know the next time I go back, it's going to be embarrassing and I'm not really sure what to do. And if you've ever been to CrossFit, which by the way, you can tell I haven't been to CrossFit, but what I heard is when you walk in there, there's like today's plan, right? And so people get really into CrossFit because they know when they go there, they're going to get specific direction on what to do. I mean, it'd be similar to like hiring a trainer, right? I'm going to walk in, that trainer's going to be like, you're going to do this, and then some burpees, and then some push-ups. So we try to put this CrossFit style plan even around things like working our sphere. So what does that look like? Well, looks a little bit different depending on how we classify these people, because we want to give the most love and attention to that person that's sending us 3 or 4 referrals a year, right? So this is what it looks like. This is a schedule, a CrossFit plan for how we work our sphere. So if they're an A+, we'll go through the A pluses here, right? We're email every 2 weeks. Guess what? That used to be like, we used to do it as a newsletter, 1 newsletter a month. We have to put together a newsletter. It took somebody on the team a couple hours to format that thing, get the content, pull it together, right? Nobody ever replied to it or said, hey, thanks for spending the time to do this, right? Maybe every once in a while we got somebody that was like, oh yeah, hey Gail, I was just thinking about you. I was talking to my cousin yesterday and he was, needing to sell his house. But it's not very effective. And we had to do it. Right? And then our other email in the course of a month became like a one-to-one where we tried to like find something that we could send somebody. Hey, here's an article from the Bellingham Herald about youth soccer. Didn't Jimmy just start youth soccer? I was just thinking about you guys, right? We just said enough of that. Market reports every 2 weeks. Guess what? Instead of like 2 emails a month and us getting, 24 touches, right? We get 26 touches to our sphere and our past clients that's specific to them. They actually care about what we're sending them. They open them at very high rates. Some people look at them more frequently than we even send them out. Okay? We send a piece of physical mail once a month. That might be a just sold postcard just so we can let our sphere know, hey, we're doing business still, right? Might be a just listed, might be an invite to an event that we have coming up, and you can see events down there, right? So we kind of combine these things. We have an event, we're going to send physical mail. We might also call, right? And that's the next one on the list, call once a month. I'll give you guys some ideas about some of the things we say when we call. And look, the reality is, we've got 33 teams spread across the country in Ben Kinney's organization. I know for a fact, because I've seen these people's databases, they don't all get their call every single month into their sphere, right? But even if they get to 50% or 33%, it's probably more than most agents are reaching in and touching their sphere intentionally. We try to get a visit, lunch, a sit down, right? Take them to a movie, something face to face with our A pluses once a quarter. These are people that are referring us 3+ deals a year. Like, they deserve lunch once a quarter, right? We try to get them invited and showing up to like 3 yearly events that we hold. Okay, so we do things like the food truck rally, or we'll rent a movie theater for some opening of a movie, or we do a lot of different like photo types. So like, get your photo with the Easter Bunny, right? Or an Easter egg hunt, or get your photo with Santa Claus, right? These things that, there's a little bit of money we spend towards it, because we know that a big percentage of our business comes from our sphere. So we allocate resources to working that, to developing it, to moving our B's up to A's. And then social media, like weekly, we try to touch our A pluses weekly, so they're always thinking about us with meaningful interactions. And all I mean by meaningful is, it's not just like, hey, great post, or like, hey, cute pic, right? It's just like that next level. Like, wow, Bob, did you get a haircut, man? Your hair looks good, buddy. I like it short like that. Like something just a little bit more than what most people do when they comment. And then you can see, like, we don't spend as much effort and energy as we move down from an A+ down to a C, right? However, we are trying to always kind of move those people along, so we still have a CrossFit approach, right? A plan to get at these folks. One of the hardest, you guys, the hardest things on here, I bet as you'd looked at this, I don't know, at least in maybe it's my own, my own drunk monkey on my shoulder or something, but it's the call. Like, to call that A+ or that A person once a month, right? Might be a little bit easier to consider in your head, like calling that B quarterly or that C semi-annually, right? But that once a month call, like, what does that look like? So a couple times a year, it's business related. Okay, a couple times a year, it's Ford. I don't know if you guys have heard this: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Couple times a year, because we do a number of events, it's to invite them to something. In fact, we've got our strategy around open houses segues with our strategy about how we nurture and work our sphere and our past clients. Most of our open houses are events. And here's what I mean by that. We'll do, like, at our open houses, like in the entire month of January, it might be a coat drive where all of our open houses, right, as we reach out and invite people to them, we're not really inviting them to like come see our open house, right? We're letting them know we have an open house this weekend. But if they're going to be in the area and they have any extra unused coats, and they'd like to donate them, we're collecting coats for some of the people in our area that are less fortunate than us, right? In the summertime, we'll do a month where all of our open houses are geared around school supplies, right? It's just a good reason for us to get out and connect with those people in our sphere, our past clients, who maybe you don't have an otherwise good reason to call them. I got Ben Kinney is like walking down the hallway right at me right now, so bear with me. I can't even look at his face without laughing. I'm on a webinar here. You want to say hi to the folks? It's for brevity. Just, we've got some of our friends here, Scott and Diane and Mary and Mario. Yeah, we're talking a little bit about some things we can do to yeah. So this first, just some kind of concrete ideas, okay? This first one is the planning our, and I put year in here because this is something we do in January, our planning our year script. But this could be the planning your summer script. This could be a planning the second half of my year. Basically, it sounds something like this, and I'll do it like I'm me, because if I was calling my sphere my past clients, that most of them know this about me, which is my wife and I love to go to Disneyland, and sometimes we take our kids, and sometimes we leave our kids with grandma and we go by ourselves. But I would call my sphere and say, hey, listen, Ben, I'm giving you a call today because Aaron and I are trying to get a trip this summer planned to go to Disneyland. You guys know we love to head out there. Listen, I wanted to call you and see, do you guys or any of your friends or family have any real estate related plans for the summer? I want to make sure that we plan our trip around any of my clients' needs, right? Any of my best clients' needs. That's it. I just shut up. Like, do you have any real estate related plans for the year, the summer, the second half of this year? And this in January across all 33 teams, or our 100 and some odd agents, right? They are all calling into their sphere and their past clients with that script. We don't just leave it to our people to kind of try to figure out what to say on those months. We feed them constantly with ideas. So in February, the call to the script might be that invite to the open house, not because like, hey, come visit my open house, right? Maybe you'll want to buy it. Like, no, it's, hey, this month we're doing coat drives at all of our open houses. And look, I don't know if you guys I think you like the house that you live in now, right? You'll call me if you don't. But I did want to invite you guys to drop by. If you have any unused coats around the house, you can bring them by. And listen, if you can't make it to the open house, I can swing in and grab them, or you guys could even drop them off at our office. So we use our open houses and those kind of events we build around them as a reason to reach in and connect with our sphere. And look, in Ben's organization, like, we have mission, vision, and values, and one of our values is that we give back, right? And so this helps. It connects us to real estate because we're calling to invite them to an open house that we have, right, for one of our listings, right? That perception is important, but it also lets them know that, like, we give back to our community, right? People want to do business with people they respect, that they like. Some other ideas, like, a couple times a year, it's a birthday, it's an anniversary, it's maybe that home anniversary. And one of the things that that I do, like with my personal friendships and my personal relationships, I don't wish people a happy birthday on Facebook. I call them. Like, what? Yeah, I call people on their birthday, right? I'll shoot them a text. I'll say, hey, happy birthday. You got a second? I'd love to catch up. So even if they're like, I'm super busy, I'm running, the text message is still a little bit closer than just happy birthday on Facebook. If we're hosting an event around town, and we do a couple of these a year, food truck rally, right, movie theater in the park, that's going to be a reason to call, invite them, just check in, see how they're doing. Like, sometimes you're literally just calling and saying, hey, how's it going? Nothing going on over here. Just want to check in, see how the kids are. I think a lot of people used, this whole kind of chaos and craziness that we're in to really make meaningful outreaches and just say, like, literally, how are you guys doing? Right? Is there anything that I can do to help you guys out? Can I make a run to the store for you? Like, sometimes we'll call our sphere and our past clients if we have a real buyer. Don't manufacture this, right? But we have a real buyer and they can't find a house in an area that one of our sphere or one of our past clients lives in. We will call them and we will say, hey, Ben, this is Bob. Listen, you have a second? I'm calling you because I wanted to ask. I've got this family, and there's 2 kids, wife, husband. The husband just is taking a job out at the refinery at Cherry Point. And they live in a condo right now in Bellingham. They need a little bit more room for the kids. They'd love to be out in your guys' neighborhood or one of those kind of surrounding neighborhoods. You guys don't know anybody, any of your neighbors, anybody like that you'd love to get out of the neighborhood, right? You just wish they would move. Maybe they've mentioned it. Like, we're trying to find a house in this area. So the hardest thing about calling is just I don't know what to say. We'll plan these out kind of months in advance. So it's like January's planning the year script, right? February is going to be around our coat drives for our open houses, right? March is going to be an invite to our Easter egg hunt and photo shoot with the Easter bunny that's coming up. Right? A lot of you guys maybe don't have big enough businesses to kind of do those bigger kind of planned events, but you can do open houses and you could easily turn those into something that's now worth calling into your sphere. Maybe you've got people in your sphere and your past clients that you know like are in a position to take advantage of opportunities, and maybe you come across those. I bet you come across those relatively frequently in real estate, right? Man, that place would make a great rental. Who do I know in my network who might be interested? Maybe they've never bought a rental before, but it's worth reaching out and letting them know like there's a place that's, you know, it was brought up today in our meeting. It's coming on the market on Friday, right? We do our office meeting. They brought it up. It made me think of you guys. I know you guys haven't, you know, bought your first rental yet, but I know that when we were helping you get into this house, you were kind of talking about how, you know, that might be a path to building wealth for you guys. Obviously, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, literally just calling them and checking in to see how's the family doing. Like, how's it going at work for you? Man, I saw you were out golfing last week and I miss golfing. Call me next time, right? Create a survey as a means of connecting, right? Hey, Ben, this is Bob. Listen, I was just calling today. I had 4 quick questions that we're running through with each of our past clients. We're you know, hoping to really make our, you know, our experience for our next clients awesome this next year. So I wanted to just take your guys' pulse on a couple of things that happened during the transaction with us. I mean, that could be a survey about anything. I wanted to get, you know, I'm putting together a couple of lists. I was giving you guys a call to see who do you guys use to get your lawn cut? Right? Do you guys know any great cleaners in the area, right? Compile lists. There's a million friggin' reasons why you could put together, manufacture as a reason to reach out. I mean, make them relevant, right? Because if you call them and say, hey, I'm putting together a list, like they're gonna want to get that list sent to them later. If you're sending them market reports, definitely one call during the year is focused on that market report that we're sending them. Now, when we send market reports out of Brivity, we can see when people look at them. So when we see them looking at them, that becomes a call, right? Just to check in. Hey, saw you guys were looking at that market report that we sent out to you. Hey, I wanted to make sure I called your attention. There's a pending. I don't know if you saw that pending just north of you guys over there on James. That thing was listed at 450. Now, we don't know what it's going to sell for. Keep checking back. When it sells, we'll show you on that report what it sold for. But man, if they get 450, that's going to be a really awesome comp for your guys' house. A lot of these things that I'm talking about in here kind of raise that affinity, right? Raise that where they look at you as that real estate person. We mix that in with things like Ford so that we don't seem like that guy that's always just trying to call and like get real estate business or like ask them about real estate. I don't know that you want to be that person, so you kind of have a balance. All right, this is one that just, it's a little bit shocking to me. More people don't do this kind of at scale. It's like asking your sphere and your past clients, like if they're curious what their house is worth. So on our teams, some of our teams do this once a quarter. Some of them do it twice a year, where we will just email and text our past clients in our sphere on a simple auto plan out of Brivity, driving them back to a home valuation page on our website. And this is part of the Brivity platform package, these home valuation sites, right? How much is your home really worth today? And this thing, the wording here, like I could have a photo of my team or me in the background. It could say, you know, you bought a home with me in the past. How much is it worth today? Right? Maybe worth more than you think. Let's see how much appreciation you've had since we last helped you buy. Like you can control the wording on here. These things are super easy to make. We give you one kind of pre-made that doesn't have this exact wording on it. It's a little bit more generic, but you can change the words, right? And then we just send it out to our sphere and our past clients once a quarter or twice a year. If you don't do something like this, you're essentially doing what? Where do they go? How do they know what their house is worth? They go online, they go to the Googs, they end up in our database. You don't want that. They go to Zillow, right? They click on the little button on Zillow and all of a sudden they're a lead in somebody's database. You have to have a tool that allows people to say, I'm kind of curious I'm wondering what appreciation we've gotten in the last 3 years, right? Now that market report hopefully has been going to them also. So they're kind of getting a sense for what the market is like, what homes are selling for around them. But when they want to know what their house is worth, there's only a couple of reasons for that. They're thinking about refinancing, right? Maybe you have a lender that could help them out with that. They're thinking about selling. I know you can help them out with that. They're thinking, they just want to know for their own peace of mind, their net worth tracker, whatever, right? That's fine. Or they're getting a divorce. They want to know what half is. You can help there too. That's like 3 or 4 transactions potentially. And I say that a little bit tongue in cheek, but the divorce rate in the United States is 50%. All right, this is the last thing. So we've had use our market reports, communicate with them on some kind of a consistent plan, send them to our website or give them an opportunity to request a valuation for their home. What's my house worth? That's a hand raiser. The last one I'm going to give you guys here, I'm not even going to give it to you. I'm just going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to beg and plead that you go and watch what I'm about to share with you. So I'm gonna send you guys something here in the chat. Oh, so that's the link to the video, and this is Ben Kinney interviewing Mike Hicks. So we see Mike here on the screen in the middle. Mike Hicks is a real estate agent in Idaho Falls, Idaho. A pretty small town. This guy's team will do 300-400 transactions this year, and the bulk of their business and all of Mike's personal business, which is 80 transactions, it's a lot, comes from past clients, Sphere, referrals from those people. He uses something called the promise, and in that video, it's at, if you give me a second, I'll tell you exactly the mark. It's at like the 22-minute mark. At about 22 minutes is where Mike, yeah, there it is. About 22 minutes. If you start there, it's an interview with Ben where he has Mike walk through what the promise is. The promise is essentially in the beginning of a transaction, no later than the second meeting they have with that client, right? So that new lead, that there was an open house lead, or that person who got referred to us by somebody else, but it was just kind of dumb luck that they referred us. We don't have any kind of systematic method to get referrals for our business. They deliver the promise script, and it is a script, but when you listen to Mike do it, you can tell that he's just refined it. But basically what they do is they prime that client they're about to work with they make them a promise. They say, look, our promise to you is this is going to be the most amazing experience you've ever had buying or selling real estate. We're going to do everything we can to knock down every, foreseeable or unforeseeable barrier. And at the very end of our transaction, if we don't deliver on the promise that this is the best experience you've ever had, we want you to tell us what we could have done better. That's our promise to you. We're going to deliver. And at the end, if we don't, you're going to tell us what we could have done better. How does that sound? And they say, that sounds great. And he says, okay, but listen, and you got to listen to the way he does it, because the segue is really strong. He says, listen, I'd like to ask for a promise from you. During the next 45 to 60 days, as we find you guys a house, we go through the stage of getting the contract negotiated, and we finally get through to that closing table, that day where I'm going to ask you if I delivered on my promise. Between now and then, I'm going to ask that you send me the name of one person, the name and contact information of one person who's thinking about buying or selling real estate. Do you think you could do that? And listen, again, go listen to Mike, because there's some very specific things in there that make it work the way it works for them. They get, on every single deal they do in their business, they get 0.8 referrals. So every deal almost leads to another deal. Every single deal almost leads to another deal. 0.8. There's a reason this works. I bet most of you guys, and I'd ask you, like, when do you ask for the referral? A lot of us ask for the referral when it's over, right? The problem with that is when it's over, they're not focused on buying and selling a house anymore. They're focused on moving into it, on getting the curtains and the new furniture and all the stuff that goes with moving in. But during the time when they're actually out looking, right, when they're getting their house ready to get on the market, when it's on the market, when they're in that pending period, there's a thing called the reticular activator. You guys know what that is? It's like it's the part of your brain that after you've gone to the car lot and you're thinking about buying the big black Ford pickup truck, right? And maybe even buy it. When you leave, all of a sudden you start seeing the black Ford pickup truck like more than you've ever seen it before. You're not seeing, it's not out there more than it's ever been out there before. You're just recognizing it more because your reticular activator is tuned in to that black Ford pickup truck. The way he primes them to look for referrals in the beginning means that during the process that they're buying and selling, they're in tuned to try to find somebody else who's doing that same thing during that time when they're doing it, not during the time when they're now thinking about curtains and a new couch. So this is a highly effective method. It's literally one of my favorite things that I've heard, seen, come across in 18 years of doing real estate. And Mike's team does it at a really high level. It runs through his entire organization. And that interview with Ben that I just shared the link for with you guys is really top-notch content and something that I think you're foolish if you don't try to implement this into your business, because all it's going to do is lead to like way more of what you're probably already getting. You're just not being systematic about it. This is another system or model that, if applied kind of universally across the board at the right time, saying the right thing, priming them to actually send you, right, checking in with them during the process if they haven't yet sent you something, like Mike lays it out in just in a phenomenal way right there. All right, so here's the deal. If I'm done, I said, I don't know, I just got excited. I talked too much. I'm sorry. If you're not a Brivity client, you're interested in a demo, you can go to Brivity.com and sign up for a demo. If you want to talk to somebody like right away, right, text platform to 59559. I know you've all got this thing. Half of you are sitting on it right now, bored. You're like looking up your stocks, and text platform to 59559. So you're going to send a message to 59559. The body of the message will be the word platform. Send that in. That'll go to Tim, who runs our sales team. He'll call you like right away. And then if you want to go in and see all this other stuff that Brivity does, I go way back here to this slide. You want to get a rundown, look at the websites, see, the open house tool, or how the market reports work, or any of the stuff that we do. Tim and his team will take awesome care of you. All right. Where did my questions go? I lost my questions. Where'd those go? Oh, there they are. All right. Anybody have any questions about any of this stuff that we went through? We've got this recorded, so we'll send that out to all of you guys. All right. I appreciate you guys joining me today. My name's Bob Stewart on behalf of Samantha and Mikey and Sean, who I think was on here back behind the scenes answering some of your guys' questions. You guys have an awesome week, rest of your week in real estate. If you're not tuning in to the Wealth Series, go to winmakegive.com and sign up. It's a free 8-part wealth series where Ben Kinney is and myself and Chad Himes are teaching and training on how to build wealth, not just in real estate, just in life. Ben's giving away $10,000, $5,000 to one lucky person and $1,000 to 5 other people. It's free. There's no commercials. There's no nothing. It's just our gift to you guys during these crazy times. So you can go to winmakegive.com. Get signed up for the Wealth Series. It started on Monday, but there are a series of on-demand podcast episodes that are being released, complete with workbooks and homework assignments for you to kind of go through and dig into your finances, your expenses, your all that fun stuff. All right, Melissa, we'll get you the recording. The power went out. Sorry about that. Glad you jumped back in here, but we're done. Melissa, we'll send you the recording. You guys, winmakegive.com if you want to jump on our wealth series, which just started. Brivity.com if you want to get a demo. Text platform to 59559. You guys have an awesome day. We'll talk to you later. My name is Bob Stewart. Bye-bye, everybody. I know, Jake. Thanks, buddy. I'm out of here.